guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a small update on our F80 M3, which is also known as Vyper. And if you're looking at the car, you would have noticed two things that are slightly different about it. One, it's sitting very high, and two, it's a little bit dirty, which it never is when we show it on this channel. And the reason for that is that the car has been returned completely back to stock suspension. And the reason why it's dirty is that it's actually been out gathering some test data, because we're going to fit a set of MSS height adjustable springs to it, like we have done on our F90 and RS3. We've got the test data and we're going to compare that against the MSS suspension when it goes on. I had the development kit on this car for around 6 months, and I'm actually really looking forward to getting that back on the car. As you can see, the arch gap on the front here is completely not acceptable, and it's actually sitting higher on the front than it is on the rear. And the issue you have when you fit a normal set of springs or a normal height adjustable spring kit is you do lower it and you get the aesthetics, but it does affect the ride quality and the handling of the car, and not necessarily in a positive manner. What we've seen from the MSS kit is that it actually lowers the car so you get the aesthetics, but because of its unique rear suspension setup, you actually get the comfort level too. So we've got the OEM test data and we want to get the MSS test data. So let's get the car on the ramp, let Aston fit the MSS suspension, and we'll join you halfway through just to show you the difference between the MSS and the OEM.
Ryan Little.
Now Aston has taken the stock suspension out, we can have a closer look at the MSS kit and explain why it's different to a traditional lowering spring or a height adjustable spring kit. So I've recently changed the boxes, so the box is actually very cool. So that is the front spring, and I'll take one rear out as well, the adjuster. And they also come with these sock kits to put in between the adjuster to prevent like salt getting in and any untoward degradation of the material. So I'll have a look at these. Just take these out. The Bilstein I have on my right hand side is actually the B6 that we fitted to the car not so long ago. We did make a video on that explaining how much better it was than the stock dampers, but for this test we've actually returned the car completely back to stock, including the stock dampers, so we can test these in isolation. Okay, so that's the adjuster. So this is the front spring, and the adjuster goes on the bottom so you can adjust the ride height. And this is the rear, so that black one goes on the bottom, the adjuster sits in the middle, and then this spring goes over the top. And the difference between this and a normal height adjustable spring kit is that on one of those you have to knock the spring perch or base off the damper and then sleeve the one that they provide with it. Now that's easy enough to do, but sometimes with you can actually cause some damage when you're taking those back off. So although they can be installed, they're actually more difficult to get off sometimes, and it's hard to reverse that process. The difference between these MSS height adjustable spring kits is that they actually fit into the stock damper locations, so they're very easy to install and they're very easy to take back out. It's just like fitting a set of lowering springs. In terms of how they're technically different, the The front is more or less a traditional setup apart from the way it adjusts, but it's the rear where the magic happens. And that's because this spring is actually quite a complicated spring. It's actually formed of 2 different spring rates, and then the bottom one provides a 3rd spring rate. So that allows the car to respond to changes in the road surface very quickly, and that's what we're hoping to demonstrate to you. Once we've fitted this onto the car and we actually go for a ride again, we can compare the data on the stock springs and these and show you the difference in ride quality. Now that the guys have fitted the MSS spring kit to the car, let's go take it for a drive and see what it's like. So the weather is particularly bad today. It's not only wet, the roads are really greasy, so I'm gonna take it a little bit easy today, but I have obviously been driving the car a lot during the 6-month development period and over this weekend. So I've got a good feeling for what it's like. So the car started off in Sport damper mode, which is the middle one. You've got Comfort and Sport Plus above that. So in this mode it's slightly stiffer than Comfort, but it gives a good feeling of what the spring's going to be like on the harder setting. So even on these roads around us, they're not great, but immediately I can tell the car's riding more comfortably than it was before. If any of you have driven a non-compact M3 or M4 and a compact, you'll notice that they did change the damper settings between the two, and you can actually upload the software into the non-compact and it does make the car ride a lot better. And I think the MSS suspension essentially gives the same difference that modification does, so it's even better. I wish I lived in LA. Maybe it's time to move out there. So yeah, just gliding over these roads compared to what it was like before, it felt quite jittery on the stock springs. So we've lowered the car around 30mm front and 25 rear. I can't really go much lower on the front because of the splitter, but it sits quite nice. Yeah, it just feels like the car has more contact with the road, even on this slippery surface. And I have had a set of springs on this, a normal set of springs from a big manufacturer, and although yes, you get the aesthetics, the ride, in my opinion, does get ruined. It doesn't feel smooth or compliant at all, it just feels more edgy. Okay, so we're getting onto our normal stretch of country lane now, so I can tentatively go a little bit quicker. gets a lot flatter through the corners. And it's handling the undulations in the road a hell of a lot better than stock. And even more of a difference compared to just putting a set of lowering springs on it. I'm really looking forward to pairing these springs up with the Bilstein EDC dampers which we had on the car before, because I think that's going to be like one of the ultimate suspension setups for this car, because that made a huge difference even on the normal springs we were running. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it is slippery today, but in the dry it just inspired a lot of confidence in the handling of this car. But even in damp conditions I do feel like I can push it a little bit further. But it's just the comfort levels. It's just amazing that you can lower the car on the stock dampers and still have this level of comfort, and that's the dampers in sport mode. Alright, I'm going to head back now so we can take a look at the data we captured and also just the aesthetics of the car. It is not conducive to driving out here at the moment, so I'll head back to the workshop and we'll take a look around the car. Now I've experienced the MSS kit on the road in terms of ride, comfort and handling, let's have a look at the aesthetics. To be honest, when you're lowering the car and you're not changing the dampers, you are doing it for looks over handling, but the beauty of the MSS kit is that you do get both. So with the MSS kit to this car, it does lower 0 to 30mm on the front and 0 to 30mm on the rear. The whole point of you being able to fit the kit and not lower the car at all, which is quite unique to the MSS kit, is that if you want to improve the handling but don't want to lower the car for practical reasons, you don't have to. We have gone for the maximum lowering on the front, which is 30mm, and around 25 on the rear. The car from the factory does have a natural rake towards the front, so the gap on the front is bigger. So we've equalized that with the MSS kit. With the offset of the wheels and the way the car is sitting at the moment, I think it looks pretty much perfect. And we could go lower for looks if we wanted to, but with that front split, I have to think about practicality. I don't want to be breaking that all the time because it's quite expensive. And if you see a lot of M3s and M4s on the road, they do have carbon fitted, so you want to think about the blend between the aesthetics and the practicality. So with the MSS kit, you get both. Not only does it look fantastic, but as we've seen from the drive itself, it feels comfortable on the road, it handles the bumps better, and it inspires a lot of confidence, purely because the car has more contact with the road. There's less opportunity for the tyre not to be in contact with the road due to the triple rating suspension on the rear. So overall, I'm really happy with this kit. Not only does it look fantastic, you don't get any detriment in terms of ride and handling. Although the data did show us that it was marginally worse than stock, in terms of subjective and how I feel, it does feel really comfortable. We are going to try and find a slightly more scientific way of doing this test, because we're just using an iPhone with accelerometers at the moment. So we're going to look into having a look at capturing the data in a more scientific way. But from my perspective, it is much more comfortable than it was with the stock springs, and much more comfortable than it is with just fitting a set of lowering springs on the car and keeping the dampers stock. So again, MSS works particularly well on this car and any car that we've actually fitted it to. I'm really happy with the way the car drives, handles, and the comfort level it gives, and really happy with the way it looks. What more can you ask for? Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to watch more of this project, you can do so over here. If you'd like to watch what YouTube suggests you might like from our other videos, you can watch that over here. If you like this video, please click on the thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comment section and we'll do our best to answer them for you.